So this person sent me their palm and they didn't really ask any specific questions. Now we have here a long palm and short fingers and a well-developed lunar. We have here a very sort of sensitive fire hand and sensitive in terms of this person is very emotionally aware, certainly, but also they're very aware of their own bodies as well. And this is the sort of person who is very in touch with their own bodies, and their nervous system is kind of linked with their emotional state as well. So this is the kind of person when they're ill, their state of mind, their mood has a direct knock-on effect on their ability to recover. And also, it's the other way around. If they become unhappy or depressed, then there's a likelihood that they'll also become physically ill. So there's a direct correlation, a direct link between their mood and their physical well-being. And I think they're very aware of this as well. I think they're quite in touch with their own bodies. The first thing I notice really about this palm is, as I say, we have a very overdeveloped, or not overdeveloped, but a very well-developed amount of lunar, and other this Mercury mount is well developed here as well, and as is Jupiter and Apollo and Venus, and this kind of, it has this appearance of a very sort of springy palm, and the color is nice and pink as well, and it just feels that this is a person with a lot of vibrancy, a lot of spirit, a lot of energy, very enthusiastic person, a very bubbly, lively character, a lot of energy, fiery, literally, very constantly moving. This is a doer. This person is not someone to dwell on things, is not someone to think long term or have deep, meaningful conversations. This is someone who is quite happy to just get stuff done. Never mind all that nonsense. Never mind the small, the fine print, the finer details. Never mind, cross-referencing details and statistics. And this person is very good at knowing what needs to be done by making a quick general assessment. And I think this person is someone who works in a field, and I've been looking at these palms now for a little while. I think this is a person who is either a teacher of young people, children, like in a nursery, or I think they are actually a nurse themselves. So that's what I'm going for. So that's my estimation. I'm not sure how accurate I am there, but I think they're either a nurse or they are a teacher of young children. That's my guesstimation here, and I say that because of a few reasons. Partly because of the overall heart line. I mean, it's low enough. It arcs up nicely. This is someone who is very outwardly caring, very open person. There's a good distance between the head and the heart line. There is a mild sort of teacher's square. The way the fingers, I mean, they don't sort of bend in towards each other, but this is certainly someone who is considerate of others. The career line stems down, low down on lunar, and it's low down enough. It's on lunar, but it's low down enough for it to be a kind of career that's working with others, but more for others. So if this career line, if it started just a little bit higher up on lunar, like this, sort of bent and curving outwards and curving upwards towards the Saturn mount, then we would have a career that's more about working with an audience, working in the limelight in some way. And being a teacher, you still are working, you still do have an audience, sure, but this is more about, this kind of role is more about supporting others to through their experiences. So it's more, there is a sort of teacher, this is a kind of a teacher's palm, but then there's also more a caring, supporting role tied to it, I feel. And also the reason why I also think this person is possibly a teacher of young people is because of their relationship line. So if we look closely here at the relationship line, this is one very strong relationship, which sadly I don't think works out the way it should have, and I'm going to reveal why I think that shortly. But notice the many upwards and downwards dashes from this one relationship line. So during the course of this relationship, this person has had many opportunities to build strong bonds with, and has created strong relationships with other people in their life. And I don't think that that's, a lot of the time people think that these upward strokes from a marriage line, or a relationship line as they should be called, are children, but they're not necessarily children. They're the opportunity for children. And in this modern age of contraception, often you can see one person or a couple, they have one child but many dashes, and so these are all opportunities, or what could have been. But often it depends on the person. These are pets. Sometimes they are children of neighbors, that we take into our care, or that we care about, or they are nieces, nephews. So, or they are sometimes children that we become guardians of. So if we're working in a matronly nurse type role, or midwife kind of role, or if we're in fact a teacher of, in a kindergarten, then we might see lots of dashes like this. And so this is one of the reasons, another sort of indicator as to why I think this person might well be a teacher of children, young children. So I think they probably do have children of their own, but not this many. There's probably 7 children there. So I think some of these are children that they have had particularly strong bonds with. They've grown to love them in a guardian type role, and they want what's best for them, and they've surely supported them in a way that's helped them grow and geared them up for the future. And the other things I notice about this palm, I mean, we've got a relatively short thumb here, and that again kind of adds to this this person, being better with their hands than their head. They're more of a doer rather than a thinker, and they're able to work quickly and efficiently, and I think they have to in the role that they work in. The other things I notice about this palm is the travel line here. So there's a strong and meaningful travel line here, and I think they possibly moved when they were young to another country. Maybe, I'm not 100% certain about that, but what I am certain of is a move in around about the age of about 54. I'm going to say 54. They move home, and it's quite a long distance move. So you can see here on the lifeline itself, at the age of around about that sort of early to mid 50s, 53ish, something like that, we have a line that veers away towards Luna, towards the heel of the hand there, and then it starts to taper upwards and outwards onto Luna, the place of restlessness and dreaming and thinking afar, thinking it's imagination. It's where we delve into, it's where we reach from for inspiration, but it's also restlessness. And in order to travel, we need to cross expanses of water, and essentially Luna for me is a gigantic expanse of water. It's a very watery part of the palm, and so that's why travel lines always veer towards this way. But then you also notice this sort of, it branches outwards and swings out around the base of Venus and comes back in again. And so it's sort of like the lifeline appears to double in this way. And that might well be what's happening. But I think here we have a move. I mean, the doubling of a lifeline can mean a couple of things. The most obvious, and a lot of palmists might say this, and this is that someone's living a double life, and I don't think it's quite that simple. Often a double lifeline represents an extra income. Often people with a double lifeline have a partner who is earning a lot more money than them, and so it's this extra financial aid, a line that runs alongside another line, often is assistance, a sister line, and so that's kind of what it represents. It depends on the person. In this case, I don't think that this is the case. I think this is more a doubling of effort, a doubling of environment. It's a change in environment. Yes, there is still this person here. This is still who they are, and this is still where they come from and where they reside in many ways. But then their life, their environment changes, and where they live also changes. So it's sort of complex, but they are both this one and the same person. They are who we are, a product of our upbringing. You are what you eat. You are where you come from. There's that saying where you can't take the person out of wherever they come from. You can take a person out of that place, but not, if you know what I mean. So this person is always going to be, who they are, but their environment may change. There could be a long-term move here, but I do think that it swings back around again quite sharply. So I'm wondering if they move back home again after some time, after some years, probably quite some time later. They'll come full circle, quite literally there, and end up back in their home country for their winter years. Now, there's a couple of other interesting things going on here. In the skin patterns, just here in the center of the palm, I'm lucky with this image because it's nice and clear. We've got here what looks like a loop in the center of the palm, and this it shows us a humanism. And again, this is another sign that this person works for others as well as with others, but mostly to support and care and nurture. And this, it's not fully formed, but I have to say this is an extremely rare skin ridge pattern. And because of that, there's very little that's written about it. Now, Beryl Hutchinson said that she had only come across 3 of these, and she found it on the palms of women who wrote for women's magazines, and they were very focused on other people. That was their focus. Now, it's interesting here because there is on the headline itself a strong and long writer's fork. I've been trying to determine whether or not this was, a secondary. It's such a long fork, whether or not this was in fact a career line itself, a secondary sort of fate line, but I don't think it is. I think this is a writer's fork, or that's what it's known as, and it provides a person with extra perspective. There are pros and cons to every sign or palmar marking, and whilst this provides extra perspective, particularly when this person their focus is other people, it's excellent for someone, like a journalist or a psychotherapist, a psychologist, an actor or a lawyer. It's superb in this case, especially with this loop of humanism. Not a loop, but it's more. Well, yeah, it is a loop, isn't it? I mean, you can kind of see the origin of it right there. It's more like a whirl, but it creates this loop around it. So a loop is there, and it's not complete. It's not coming from Neptune, which is where it should be coming from. It's sort of shifting over slightly, so there's more of an imaginative element to it. And being that this person has an excellent imagination, I mean, look at this, as I've already stated, a very well developed amount of lunar. I do think that this person has the potential, an excellent potential, to be a writer. I mean, they could well be a writer. I could be wrong about my earlier theory, or perhaps they were that and now they're a writer, or vice versa. In any case, they would be excellent at any of the roles that I've mentioned so far in this video. The downside to having a writer's fork like this is their indecision. There's certainly an indecisiveness about the writers fork. People with it are indecisive. I mean, it's being that it's so long. Generally, a writer's fork will, it's like this, or even smaller. This is so large that it's almost as though the headline itself doubles. Um, it's probably both in a way. That's probably both these things. It probably is doubling, and the writer's fork is just another way to kind of um, emphasize that change in a person's way of thinking, that perspective. But being that it begins so early on, I think there was a specific event in their life that changed them and provided them with an extra perspective from then on. And so I think it's more than just a writer's fork. I think this person had some sort of an epiphany moment in their life. And I think that moment might well have been when they left their partner, their spouse. So I believe this is a woman's hand. I could be wrong about that. I've been wrong about that before. Now this line that reaches up here, it's on both hands. It's quite an impactful change line, and it directly comes into contact with the relationship line, and we can see it on the left and the right hand. You can see it come directly into contact with that relationship line, and it works its way across the palm there. And there's a couple of things going on here which make it a bit more confusing, but where a line originates from is, you can tell where it originates from by the strength of it. And here, it's strongest up here, and you can see it sort of tapers off and becomes a bit weaker as it affects it. It crosses over, it crashes through this person's emotions and reaches down towards the logic, the headline. And so whether or not this was actually a divorce or just some sort of event that occurred in their relationship that could have caused this separation is another story. I mean, I'm not sure if they actually did separate, but there is another event in this person's life, and it looks like, and this is what kind of makes it confusing, it looks like this person this is an effort line. That's certainly an effort line, that right there. And it does join on with this up here. Now, if we look for a bit more evidence as to how this event, this circumstance has affected this person internally, we look at the left hand for that. We can see that looking where the line comes from is a bit different now, because it looks like it comes from this area for this same event, and this is Venus, the place of home, stability, familiarity, love and relationships, and all things secure. And just above Venus here we've got the inner Mars, this area of drive and aggression and motivation, and we can see this line kind of creeping upwards and working its way up onto Mercury. It crashes past the lifeline, the career, the head, the heart line, and it reaches right up onto the Mercury mount. And we can see here, this person's given me excellent images of the sides of their hand. You can see here the relationship itself, and when a relationship line like this reaches downwards towards the heart line, it shows us how the relationship brings us down emotionally. It's dragging us down, it's weighing down on us, it's pulling us down, and it's not healthy. There might be struggles, it could just be simply financial burden. It could be that this person isn't able to see their spouse as much as they want to because of work commitments. It could be a number of things. So it's important not to jump to any conclusions about how this person might be feeling or thinking about their partner, or how their partner is affecting them, because often there's a lot of variables at play. But one thing is for certain, their relationship could be better. There could be improvements at home, and whether or not that's an environment could help with that is another thing altogether. But you can see the relationship line here starts in at the side of percussion, and it comes across the heart line there, and interestingly through an island there. And so it looks as though around about the age of, I'm going to say about 35-ish, this person went through some great upheaval in their relationship due to a circumstance, and it could be that they actually just divorced their partner, and that's what might, the reason for this overlapping obstacle that affected every area of their life and reached up onto this area of the palm that represents how we show and reveal ourselves. So it was no secret that this was occurring in this person's relationship. And so often there's feelings of attachment, of shame and guilt and stress and anxiety over this sort of, no one wants their dirty laundry aired out in public. No one wants other people to know about it. You shouldn't have everyone knowing your business. But a divorce, friends and family get involved one way or another. Everyone is kind of affected by these things, and children, of course, as well. So, when it becomes legal, of course, everyone's going to know about these sorts of things. And that's why the change line that kind of shows more like it shows more of a hints more towards, indicates more towards divorce. That's why it kind of shows up on this first quadrant of the palm, this area where we show ourselves and express. And so this person was affected deeply by what happened. I'm not 100% certain if this person was actually at fault for the separation. I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, to look for the evidence of as to whether or not they were the one committing adultery or not, if that is what's happened here, I would look for honesty in the palm, and I do think I see a loyalty line here. The headline obviously is long, that bodes well, and the heart line, I mean, there is some lacking of emotional focus there, so there is the possibility for this person to be tempted by others in that way, but it's hard to say really. The heartline as well does suggest that this is a person who certainly requires a loving and meaningful relationship. So if this person wasn't getting that, then perhaps that's another reason or indication, as to this person having an extramarital affair. I don't know, and I'm not going to make a judgment because I just don't know, and I'm not going to be able to find out. So that's that. Now, moving on, this career line here on the left hand, it's an excellent career line. I mean, look at just how low down it begins in the heel of Luna there, and a career line that's said to begin this low down on Luna is it's said to be someone in Indian palmistry, or Tibetan palmistry at least, said to be someone who's come back in this life with unfinished business from a past life. They've reincarnated with a purpose, and you can certainly say that at least in Western palmistry, this is a person with great motivation and great drive, and the headline as well suggests that as well. Look at how high up on it starts on Jupiter. This is someone with high ambitions, and I do think they will rise to quite a high station in their life. It's interesting to me because the fingerprint patterns show we've got loops on all of the fingerprints, all of the fingers, except for I'm not entirely certain about Apollo on both hands. Otherwise, this loop shows superb adaptability, and this person we've got a loop of sense of humor here, and then this loop of seriousness here as well, which is contradictory really, but this person knows when to act in the moment, act with professionalism, and get the job done and conduct themselves in a way that that suits the role that they've undertaken. But they also have a good sense of humor. They have an ability to see the ridiculousness in life, and they're probably a little bit sarcastic. And towards the end of this person's life, they will enjoy a good financial security. In health-wise, I don't see too much going on here apart from a thyroid issue, which could be related to it's likely linked to the pituitary gland. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. The gland in the brain that releases oxytocin, cortisol, sexual productive organ hormones. It's like a hormone regulator, an entire kind of central regulator for all the hormones in the body, and sleep hormones as well. Without that doing its job properly, sometimes a thyroid issue can develop, and it shows up as several lines, 3 lines or more on the tip of Mercury there. And often when a person becomes menopausal, this shows up as well, and I think that is likely due to this pituitary gland, and it shows up on Jupiter sometimes just on the end of the finger here as some lines kind of moving outwards across the tip of Jupiter. And on Mercury you can see here these skills gained here, these little upward strokes, and 3 of these lines generally is known as the sign of the healing stigmata. And so again, this was another reason, another indicator to me as to why this person might well be in some sort of supportive or caring, some sort of healing role. So I had for me it was in this person's palm here I see a picture of a person who is some sort of teacher, but then also a guide, a healer, a supportive role model for others underneath them in some way. However, there is also this superb ability to write. I think this person would make a good writer in dealing with subject matters of people, a novelist, of a romance writer, perhaps. I think they would make an excellent novelist. And the advice really that I give with regards to this thyroid issue, speak to your doctor about this. I don't know if this is already being regulated, if you've already got medication for this thyroid issue. And I mean, seaweed, kelp, omega-3, these things can help, and avoiding aluminium. I don't really see any metals in the blood here. This looks actually like blood flow is good here. Otherwise, health-wise, this is a healthy individual. The only other information, the only other advice I would give this person is to not let others push them around. Don't let others walk all over you. And I'm not sure if that's how, I don't think people see you as a pushover, and I don't think you are one, but I do think there is the potential here for others to take advantage. And I'm sure that you're all too aware of this. I think that this person has had experience in this field, and will not be fooled a second time. So thanks for watching. I hope this has all made sense, and please subscribe, please like and comment if you've got anything about this reading that you agreed with, or that you learned, or that you disagree with. Please let me know your thoughts, and I'd be happy to comment. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.